Hey gang, Craig Ripley here. Welcome once again to Living Off the Slab. Now if you follow me on Facebook, you know that last weekend I was out doing some camping down in Rhode Island and I was trying out a new tent. And that's this thing right here, the DL Adventure Camel 2 tent. And it's one of those big tents we can pull your bike into. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. Sometimes I am amazed at how the world works out. See, after this last trip, Kathy and I were talking and how we really enjoyed the KOA campgrounds, and we thought that on our next trip, right, rather than move so much day to day, we might try to set something up where we went to a KOA or to some other kind of a campground, established a base, and did some wagon wheel rides out of there. So we would stay in one place for, 3 or 4 or 5 days, who knows, maybe even a week, right? This would make it easier on us not having to set up camp and move constantly day after day. So in trying to do that kind of camping, where you're setting up a base camp, I thought it might be nice to have a larger tent, something that you could pull your bike into, something you could stand up in, have room to put all your gear out, and not have to sleep with it all of the time. So I was considering one of those big adventure tents, again, that you could pull your bike up into and have a large area to get out of the rain or to just get out of the sun. So about that time, when I was thinking about it, I was contacted by these folks from DL Adventure. And they said that they're having this new tents that they're putting out, and they would like me to give it a try. So I went online, I looked at them, and I thought they looked pretty nice. They sent me some brochures and things, so I said, sure, send one out. I have a camping trip that I have planned for later on in September, and I'll give it a try then. And before we get started here, notice that I have the tent poles here in this red bag separate from the rest of the tent. But when I got the tent, they were all rolled up inside the tent itself, and they did fit into this bag. I just have to tell you that. But when I put the tent back together, just because I thought it was easier, I put the tent in by itself, and then I put the tent poles in a separate bag that I can carry on top of it. Again, it will go all together, but again, I just did it because I thought it was easier. Now, one cool thing that the guys from DL did is design this tent so that when it's in its stuff sack, it can fit into a 45-liter pannier, right? And it does so quite easily. Let me show you. Okay, so let's come inside now that we have the tent all set up. And I guess the first question that people are probably going to want to know is, can I stand up inside this tent? And obviously I can. I'm 5'9", and I am just below the ceiling here on the high peak. As I move this way, then I do hit the ceiling a little bit. So if I was over 6 foot, I would have to, duck just a little bit to get in here. But still, now you'll be able to stand almost straight up. All right, so and here's just a little tour of the inside. You can see all of the space that we have to work with on the inside. So you could easily set up a chair, a couple of chairs, 3 or 4 chairs, and still get a motorcycle in here, which we'll show you in a few minutes. Over here, this is the sleeping area. Before we take a look in the sleeping area, first I want to show you a few other little features, like there are a couple of nylon pockets here to throw things in, and those are on both sides of the tent. Let's switch into selfie mode now and get inside this tent. Now this tent area is supposed to be a 2-person tent, and 2 people could sleep in here, but like most 2-person tents, it's really good for only 1. I slept in here very comfortably, but like Kathy, we would be really tight, and we have trouble sleeping in a queen size bed, let alone in here together. And this back wall of the tent does have a mesh so that you can get some ventilation in here without letting the bugs in. However, this big door over here, right, it does not. Right? There are some additional vents up here on both sides of the tent. However, there's no mesh in here. So if you have bugs and things that are out, you probably wouldn't be able to open these. Now I will tell you that while I was using it last weekend, I did have a lot of condensation buildup on the inside of the larger portion of the tent, the outer portion of the tent. Right, however, in here where I was sleeping, nothing got through. I was completely dry and comfortable inside here. Now, this isn't necessarily the tent's design problem here. Just condensation happens no matter what kind of fly you have. And this is a pretty big fly, so you're going to get some condensation under the right conditions. Now, also taking a closer look at all of these seams of the tent, I noticed that they are sealed, so I won't be expecting any problems with leaks, but I haven't had a chance to use it in the rain yet. So also from here you can see how this sleeping cabinet or compartment is suspended from the rest of the tent, from the outer shell of the tent. Right? And you can actually take this out, and they have an option for getting a larger sleeping area that will hold up to 6 people. So it basically fills this entire tent, right, with sleeping area. On the outside of the tent right here, there are a couple of nice ventilation features, right? There are little support arms that you can put up to get some ventilation flowing through the tent. And on both sides we have that ventilation feature. Again, get some air flowing through to help stop the condensation. And there's another vent on the far end of the tent. And of course, if you want, this whole side opens up, right, to get even more air flowing through. So obviously, a full-size adventure bike will fit into this tent pretty easily. Right? It is pretty tight. It does go from wall to wall. So I think when I set mine up, this is the way that I'm going to do it. If I'm going to pull my bike into the tent, I'm going to bring this awning out, use a couple of extra poles that I have, and will give myself a nice big area to pull the bike into, but also leave me an awning to sit under, get out of the rain if I have to, or just get out of the sun. Now, a couple of the issues with this tent, if you're looking for something like this, is one, setup on the tent. Right? As you can see, setup is a little bit more involved than on most normal tents. However, as I am planning on using this tent, right, I'm not going to be setting this up and tearing it down every day. I'm going to go to somewhere and use this as my base camp. So while it may take me 20-30 minutes to get this tent set up, and it may take 10 on a normal tent, well, that's okay, because I'm going to stay there a while. All right, number two, right, this tent, as you saw, its pack size is pretty big, right? It's 12.5 pounds for this tent, which is a little under others in the same kind of category, right? However, that still is about 3 times what my Sierra Designs Flashlight FL goes for. Right, it's about 4.5 pounds. Right, so also it's about probably 1/3 of the pack size. Right, so if you're looking for lightweight, small pack size, obviously something like this is not what you want to go for. This is for somebody who is looking for that base camp, like I've been mentioning. Now, of course, the last thing, and I know most of you want to know, is how much does this tent cost? What does something like this run? Well, other tents in this category, they run about $600 or $700, right? And this tent, it goes for right at $1,000. So it's a little bit more on the expensive side. Now, I haven't had a chance to test out all of the other tents in this category, but I can tell you this one so far I am very impressed with. I really enjoyed using it over last weekend. I felt very comfortable in it. It seems to be very good quality tent. The one thing I would like is if they would make a footprint for it. Right now a footprint does not come with this, but a canvas tarp of some kind would work out really well. So I guess my highest praise that I can give this tent is that I'm going to keep it and I'm going to use it. Right? The guys from DL Adventure sent it to me and they said, try it out. If you don't like it, send it back to us. But if you do like it, keep it and use it. And I like it. I'm going to keep it and I am going to use it. Okay, gang, if you've made it this far in the video, then the guys from DL Adventure have a little gift for you. If you're interested in this tent, they sell these things through Amazon. So I'm going to have in the description of this video a link and also a discount code where you can get 5% off this tent. So that'll be about somewhere between $45 and $50 off the price of this tent. All right, so again, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you guys from DL Adventure. Now this code is going to be good through November 6th of 2019. They only let them put the codes out there for a month. So if you're interested in one, now's the time to take advantage of that. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.